You can't always control what happens, but you can always control the expectations that you carry into every situation. Because when you release the shoulds, life softens. When you release the scripts, life opens. When you release the pressure, joy returns. And when you expect less, you start to live more. Welcome to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, where we explore the keys to unlocking your full potential and living your best life. I'm your host, Jose Johnson. Whether you're looking to make a breakthrough, overcome a challenge, or simply live with greater clarity, joy, and purpose, you'll find the tools and inspirations you need right here. So let's start your journey towards personal mastery and growth right now. Welcome back to the Personal Mastery and Growth Podcast, your go-to resource for practical tips, insightful research, and inspiring stories to help you unlock your full potential. I'm your host, Jose Johnson, and I'm an expert in the fields of mindfulness, mindset, and peak performance, and I'm so excited to have you here with me today. In today's episode, we're diving into part 3 of our December Momentum series with a topic that just might change the way you experience the rest of this year: the expectation trap. Expect less and live more. Because here's the truth. A lot of our frustration, disappointment, stress, and emotional turbulence doesn't come from what happened to us. It comes from what we expected to happen. Expectations are like invisible scripts that we don't even realize we're carrying until reality fails to match them. And when that mismatch happens, the emotional impact can hit harder than a reindeer with an attitude problem. So today we're going to explore why they often leave us unhappy, and most importantly, how to break free from the expectation trap so that you can end 2025 with more peace, presence, and freedom. Let's jump in. Let's start with something simple and honest. You're not upset because of what happened. You're upset because you expected something different. So just think about this for a moment. You expected someone to behave a certain way. You expected the holidays to feel a certain way. You expected your career to be further along by now. You expected your efforts to be recognized. You expected things to be easier, smoother, or more predictable. When reality doesn't match expectation, the emotional fallout can be immediate. Now, psychologists even have a name for this. It's the expectation experience gap. It's the difference between the movie playing in your mind and the reality that's playing out in front of you. And the bigger the gap, the stronger the disappointment. But expectation doesn't just affect your emotions. They affect your behavior, your relationships, your motivation, and even your sense of self-worth. And this leads us to our core truth. When you expect less, you don't live smaller. You live freer. You create space for reality to surprise you instead of disappointing you. All right, so let's look at the science behind this. Expectations aren't merely thoughts you choose. They're mental predictions your brain makes automatically. So let's start by examining the concept of predictive processing, or how your brain prefers should. Your brain is a prediction machine. It constantly tries to guess what will happen next, and that's based on your past experiences, your beliefs, your assumptions, emotional memories, cultural conditioning. These predictions become expectations. When reality aligns with them, well, that's great. When it doesn't, well, your brain treats it as a threat. That's why unmet expectations can trigger stress hormones, emotional reactivity, defensive behavior, irritability, withdrawal, and rumination. It's not just disappointment. It's a biological mismatch. All right, so next, let's unpack the expectation emotional loop. Now, here's how the brain handles expectations. We start with an expectation. which leads to comparison, which then creates a judgment. And finally, that creates an emotion. So, for example, you need to have an important talk with a family member about your holiday plans. Your expectation may be this conversation will go smoothly. The reality, it doesn't. This leads to comparison. Well, this isn't how this should be going, which leads to a judgment. They're just being difficult, which leads to an emotion, the emotion of frustration. Or maybe you're planning on taking a day off to get your holiday decorations up. So your expectation may be, I'll get so much done today. And the reality is that you don't. This creates the comparison. I'm behind. The judgment. I'm failing. And the emotion of shame or stress. Now, why is this a trap? Because the brain does all of this instantly and often without your awareness. Now let's talk about our hidden expectations, or the silent saboteurs. These are the expectations you didn't realize that you were carrying. They're expectations of yourself, things like, I should be further along. Expectations of others. Well, they should know what I need. Expectations of timing. This should have happened by now. Expectations of the holidays. It should feel magical. Expectations of ease. Well, this shouldn't be so hard. Hidden expectations are the most dangerous because they operate unconsciously. You can't question an expectation that you don't even know that you have. That's why the expectation trap is so powerful and so sneaky, which brings us to our next topic. So stick around. Hey there, feeling stuck? Spinning your wheels? Are you ready for a breakthrough? Well, then you need to hear this, because I've got something that will supercharge your growth this year, and it's called The Mindset Makeover. Now, it's my new book and course that are designed to help you upgrade the mental software that drives your success. And inside, you're going to discover the mindsets that shape every decision, every habit, and every result. And you'll learn the science-backed tools to rewire your thinking for clarity, confidence, and unstoppable momentum. So whether you're aiming higher, trying to break free from old patterns, or finally stepping into that version of yourself that you know that you're capable of becoming, well, this is your launch pad. So don't wait. Head over to josejohnson.com/mindset to grab the book, join the course, or get both together. Again, that's josejohnson.com/mindset. And remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. And with the Mindset Makeover, you can make it something extraordinary. All right, there are 5 expectation traps that most people fall into. Let's break these down one by one. The first one is the perfection trap. This is the most common, especially for high performers. It's the belief that I should be doing better. I should be further ahead. I should get it right the first time. Perfectionist expectations create pressure and eventually burnout. You aren't failing. Your expectations are just unrealistic. Number 2, the mind reader trap. Now, this trap, well, it sounds like they should know what I need. They should understand how I feel. I shouldn't have to ask. But here's the truth. Uncommunicated expectations are premeditated resentments. People can't meet standards that they don't even know exist. Trap number 3 is the reciprocity trap. Now, this one can really hurt. It's when you feel like, I give so much, why don't I get the same back? Now, the expectation that others will match your effort creates emotional imbalance. Giving is a beautiful thing. Expecting equal return just creates pain. Number 4 is the timeline trap. Now, this is the belief that your progress should follow a specific schedule. My life should look different by now. The goals should be done already. This shouldn't have to take this long. But timelines are human inventions. Growth, well, it follows its own rhythm. And number 5, the seasonal script trap. Now, this one hits hard in December. It's the belief we hold that things should feel a certain way, that everyone should get along, or the holidays should be perfect. These scripts, well, they're shaped by nostalgia, movies, social media, past holidays, cultural expectations. And when life doesn't match the script, disappointment sets in. Fortunately, there is a way out, and we'll talk about it in the next segment. So stay tuned. All right, so let's talk about how to break free from the expectation trap. Breaking free from the expectation trap isn't about lowering your standards or giving up on your growth. It's about releasing the rigid, unconscious demands that keep you stuck, stressed, or disappointed. When you shift the way that you relate to expectations, you create emotional flexibility, healthy relationships, and a mindset that supports momentum rather than sabotaging it. So, here are 5 powerful practices to help you reset your internal landscape and regain your sense of peace and presence. The first is expectation awareness, or name it attainment. The first step is to bring the expectation into your consciousness. Now, most expectations operate in the background, like mental software you didn't realize was running. When you pause long enough to ask, what am I expecting right now? You illuminate the very thing that's been quietly shaping your reactions. Now, some common hidden expectations include that things should be easier. They should appreciate what I did. I shouldn't feel this way. I should be more productive. Once you identify the expectation, the emotional charge begins to dissolve. The brain can't cling as tightly to something that you've clearly labeled. Awareness creates space. Space gives you choice, and choice gives you power. And number 2, the expectation audit. Challenge your internal story. So once you've identified the expectation, it's time to examine it with curiosity rather than judgment. Ask yourself 4 simple but transformative questions. Is this expectation realistic? Because sometimes we expect perfection from ourselves or consistency from others who have never been consistent. Is this expectation mine? Or maybe it came from your family, culture, past relationships, or social pressures. Has this expectation been communicated? We often expect people to meet needs that we've never actually voiced. Is this expectation helping me or hurting me? If it's causing stress, conflict, or disappointment, it may be time to release or revise it. Now, this audit works because expectations are often simply emotional shortcuts, assumptions that your brain uses to reduce uncertainty. And when you audit them, you replace unconscious programming with conscious choice. Number 3, the flexibility factor. Train your brain to pivot. Unmet expectations hurt the most when we're rigid. Flexibility, on the other hand, softens the emotional impact. Now, this isn't about giving up. It's about pivoting. Psychological flexibility is one of the strongest predictors of emotional well-being. It reflects your ability to adapt your mindset when circumstances shift. Now, here are some very powerful micro reframes. This isn't what I expected, but maybe it's what I needed. What's the opportunity inside this interruption? How can I meet this moment instead of resisting it? What would future me do with this? These small pivots shift your brain away from threat mode and into problem-solving mode. Instead of spiraling into frustration, you rise into resilience. Number 4, the clarity conversation. Communicate before you agitate. Now, here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Most interpersonal conflict isn't caused by bad intentions. It's caused by unspoken expectations. We expect people to understand our needs, respond like we would, remember our preferences, anticipate our emotional patterns, value what we value. But people aren't mind readers. Clear expectations create clean relationships. That means saying things like, here's what I'm hoping for today. Can I share what I need in this situation? What are your expectations so that we're on the same page? Let's set some agreements so that we both feel supported. Communication isn't confrontation. It's collaboration. And when expectations are shared rather than assumed, relationships feel lighter, safer, and far less stressful. And number 5, replace expectations with intentions, the freedom formula. Now, this is the very heart of this entire episode. Expectation is an attempt to control the future. Intention is a commitment to how you will show up in the present. Expectations are outcome-based. This is how it should go. Intentions are identity-based. This is who I choose to be in this moment. So, here are some examples. Expectation would be, everyone should be grateful. Intention, I will bring appreciation wherever I go. An expectation may be, the day should go smoothly. Your intention, I will stay centered, no matter what comes. The expectation may be, they should understand me. But the intention should be, I will communicate clearly and compassionately. Your expectation may be, things should happen faster. The intention could be, I will focus on consistent progress. Intentions shift the focus from controlling outcomes to cultivating character. They move you from rigidity to flow, from pressure to presence. And here's the real magic. When you release expectations and lead with intention, life stops disappointing you and starts surprising you. All right, so here is your challenge for this week, and I call it the Expectations Reset Ritual. So for the next 7 days, I want you to set aside a couple minutes and ask yourself the following questions. First, what expectations am I carrying right now? Next, are they helping me or hurting me? Then ask, what intention would serve me better? Now, this single practice can dramatically reduce stress, improve your relationships, and increase your emotional clarity. So just try this for 1 week and watch your peace expand. So as we move through the rest of December, remember this. You can't always control what happens, but you can always control the expectations that you carry into every situation. Because when you release the shoulds, life softens. When you release the scripts, life opens. When you release the pressure, joy returns. And when you expect less, you start to live more. All right, so thank you so much for joining me today. And next week, we're wrapping up the year with episode 62, a powerful conversation about clarity, vision, and stepping into 2026 with intention. So if you found this episode helpful, share it with someone who might need a little expectation reset before the new year. And always remember, it is what it is, but it becomes what you make it. So make it great. Thanks for tuning in. Before we wrap up, I just want to remind you that the information shared in this podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for professional advice or treatment. While the content of this podcast is based on research and personal experience, everyone's situation is unique, and the advice given may not be applicable to all. Always consult a qualified professional before making significant changes in your life. The Personal Mastery and Growth podcast is recorded at the So Good Media Studios, located in the Candy Factory, a co-working space in Lancaster, Pennsylvania.